Hi, I'm Jasmine Nicole. Welcome to the Motivational Mystic, a space for authentic, higher conscious conversations to motivate, inspire, and empower. Thanks for listening. Each week, I'll drop a new conscious raising episode. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. I feel like today's episode is a continuation of episode 2. Outgrowing people is a sign that you're evolving. In that episode, I did mention that you can't take everyone with you as you're looking to level up in life. The next step after coming to that decision and doing it is really being at peace with leaving people behind. Obviously, they may not like it if certain people don't have as much access to you as they once did. They may feel slighted, but that's not for you to worry about. You have to be really intentional about how you spend your time and who you spend your time with. Those people that you decide to leave behind who are not elevating themselves or making forward movement or traction in their life, they're just comfortable remaining stagnant. You can't drag them along. They can't come along for the ride. Everyone can't go, and that's okay. But the next step from that is just being at peace with leaving those people behind. No matter if they're kicking up dust and got something to say about it, they can soothe their self. They can. They'll be all right. It's not for you to fix. It's for you to acknowledge for yourself that, hey, this person or these people are not really a part of your next chapter in life. You don't have to tell them that, of course, but be okay with feeling that way. And don't have any guilt. Don't have any guilt about doing what's best for you. When you're outgrowing people, when you're leveling up, when you're evolving, it's just a part of the process. Some people are going to feel left behind, and how they decide to deal with that is their problem. It's not yours. It's coming to a place of peace with making those hard decisions for yourself and not personalizing how other people react to it. Especially those of you out there who are the ancestral cycle breakers of your family, breaking through those generational curses in your bloodline. You definitely can't be worried about the folks you may have to leave behind in pursuit of elevating yourself. Because they're family, sometimes you can't escape hearing about how they feel about it because they're connected to you to a certain extent. But that's okay. You can still act accordingly and civil if you have to interact with them. But I wouldn't let those people get all in your business and trying to see what you have going on and what's been keeping you busy. You just have to be very intentional about how much access you give certain people to you when you're working on trying to elevate and advance in life. You've got that good motivation going on out here, moving, shaking, and popping, or at least striving to be, and not everyone is doing that. You are the one putting in the work to do it and evolving in the process. And people may have their comments. Let them. It ain't their journey. It isn't their race. It's not their evolution. That's the problem, and probably why some of them get left behind. They're too focused on what other people are doing and not really self-reflecting or putting any attention or focus on developing and evolving their self. You're either going to be a spectator or a player in the game of life. Are you going to participate in this game of life? Are you going to be an active participant? Or are you going to just be a spectator, hating from the sideline, watching other people level up? You don't have time to worry about the spectators that always have words for everybody. Everybody but themselves. They are running from themselves. They don't want to take the time to evolve, to self-empower, to develop. They just want to be a critic on how other people are doing it. And nobody likes a hater. And even an undercover hater that people may like, but eventually their haterism comes to the surface. So if you have to leave people behind, it's okay to feel a little emotional about it. But ultimately, you're making that decision for your highest good. When you're elevating yourself to new heights that people around you are not willing to put in the work to level up with you can't have a critic, a naysayer, or a nagger on your journey when you're trying to self-improve, do better, and be better. Let the spectators spectate and watch from the sideline while you're focused on your game. And hey, maybe it will eventually inspire them, wishful thinking of course, to take attention off of other people and focus it more on themselves so they can become an active participant in their own game of life. As you grow and evolve as a person, not everyone is going to grow and evolve with you. Cutting energetic cords to those people you are leaving behind is an important step in self-care. It's one thing when the people you have outgrown start to realize that they don't have as much access to you as they used to. But the other side of that is their reaction to it, right? No one likes to feel left behind. So some people may have a very negative response to your growth. They may make snarky comments like, "You're phony, you're fake," or "You've changed up." They may react negatively to the fact that they no longer have as much access to you as they once did. They may react negatively to the fact that they're no longer in communication with you. And obviously, those type of responses are not pleasant. You may have people who even start to make up things in their head as to why you stopped talking to them, or trying to villainize you to justify why you don't talk to them. So they just make up things in their head. Some people may even go as far as lying or slandering you, because if you were someone that was really close to another person and you're no longer around them, you're elevating yourself, and you see that that person is in the same spot. They can feel slighted. They may be a little salty. It's very rare for people to take the time to look at themselves and be introspective. It's easier for their ego, especially, to place the blame outwardly. So they make up excuses such as, "Oh, this person thinks they're better than me," or whatever other external excuse comes to mind for them not to look at their self. No one's ever going to say, "Oh, this person stopped talking to me because they wanted to grow as a person, and I don't want to do the same." No one's going to do that. The average person is just not that honest with their self or self-aware. Let's be realistic. But your actions and your energy can convey that to someone, and how they choose to perceive it and how they take it is their business, not yours. That's the other aspect you have to be aware of when you outgrow people. It doesn't mean they're going to like it. So that's when cutting energetic cords to these people are important. Whether that's just from a mental standpoint and coming to the acknowledgement that you're choosing not to feed into or be baited into someone else's response to you not wanting to interact with them as much or at all. So they're reacting negatively to it and looking to elicit a negative reaction out of you for validation. For my meditators out there, in meditation, it may help to visualize these people and a cord or a rope that is connected between you and them, and visualize yourself cutting that cord with some scissors. You are symbolically cutting those energetic cords because you don't want to be dragged down by anyone else's stagnancy, complacency, or just overall negative attitude. If you're listening to this podcast, we are prosperous, positive people. We are high vibrational people, and high vibrational people want to elevate, want to grow, want to be in high vibrational environments. And not everyone can go with you. Everyone isn't on the same wavelength, the same frequency, and that's okay. It doesn't mean anyone is better or worse than anyone else. It's not personal. It's vibrational. We're high vibe people, and high vibe people want to be around other high vibe people and environments. It's almost a disturbance to yourself and to someone that may operate on a lower vibration, because if they don't want to do the inner work to raise their vibration and elevate themselves, and they see you elevating yourself, the only thing that's going to resort in is the lower vibrational person getting consumed with the spirit of jealousy. And then you have to deal with the pitfalls of that. I'm sure they don't want to come off as being a negative or jealous person, and you certainly don't want to deal with any negative or jealous people. Essentially, you're just operating at two different vibrations. You also don't want to do a disservice to that person, because if they can't see your growth and become inspired to elevate themselves, the only thing they're going to do is try to pull you down, so you're more on an even playing field with them, because they don't want to do the work to elevate themselves like you did. So when you outgrow people, you may also have to release those remnants, cut those energetic cords that linger and still remain. The action of not giving people too much access to you as you're evolving in life, or not communicating with them as much, is one thing. But the energetic residual of how they're going to react to being left behind is another. And that's when you know cutting those energetic cords are important, because you can't let someone else's feelings about the decisions you make to better yourself be a distraction. You can't let them get in your head, make you feel despondent, or attempt to slow you down. Once you take inventory of the people in your life who are no longer aligned with elevating yourself and leveling up in life, you will naturally begin to drift apart. You speak less and less, and people may react negatively to not getting as much of your time and attention as they once did, especially if they see you making moves and advancing in life. Sometimes the people closest to you can have the biggest negative reaction to your growth. Maybe once upon a time, you and a friend or a family member were attached at the hip, and you recognized in your season of growth that this person may not serve you anymore in terms of you putting in the work to elevate yourself and evolve in life, where they don't have any desire to do the same. You don't want them to be an anchor to your progress or start to project onto you their envy or jealousy, because they see you making moves which they either can't or don't want to do. So you really have to prepare yourself for the aftermath of recognizing that you can't take everyone with you, and those people may not like it. You recognize the simple fact that some people aren't worth the sacrifice to you progressing and evolving in your life. As harsh as this may sound, but it's true, it gets to a point where you realize you just have to cut the dead weight. So people who are left behind or don't make the cut may respond by trying to villainize you. They may start speaking negatively about you to other people. However, that's just a defense mechanism to avoid looking at theirself or doing the work to better theirself. But you are the one changing and making a change in this scenario, so it's easier for them to make you the problem. That's when you may start to hear certain people say things like, "Oh, you think you're better than people," or "You think you're better than me." And honestly, those type of responses and reactions have nothing to do with you. It more so has to do with the individual who doesn't want to grow. So in terms of cutting energetic cords, you just have to be prepared for the aftermath that comes along with making that decision, especially if it's family. People may want to paint you as a bad person for putting yourself first. When you make a decision that certain people can't go with you to your next level in life, they may try to paint you as a bad person, especially if you're doing well without them and making progress, and they're not alongside of you to see it firsthand or make that same progress. That's when those jealousy and envy claws come out. For jealous and envious people, it's easy for them to paint the person they're jealous or envious of as a villain. It's almost advantageous to them, so they have the ability to speak negatively about the person they feel threatened by to other people who you both may mutually know, without that person coming off as a hater, without coming off as being insecure or mean-spirited. If they can convince people you are the villain, while in actuality you're just focusing on you and bettering yourself, and they don't want to do that, it gives these jealous and envious people the ability to openly speak about you negatively to anyone. They can convince you're a villain without other people questioning their motives and why they're saying such disparaging things. So, you just have to brace yourself for people's negative reactions. Not that you have to care about it. You don't have to care about it at all. You don't have to cater to them. You don't have to explain yourself. But you do want to have a level of awareness that with the decision you're making to unfortunately leave people behind that don't want to progress, they're going to feel some type of way about it. They may act out in negative ways out of feeling slighted, out of feeling jealous or envious about your growth. Just being aware of that and not letting low vibrational coping mechanisms of people telling lies or slandering you or possibly taking action to get in your way and derail you. Do not let those people get in your way. Because oftentimes, people who cannot compare or compete with you want to defeat you, and they will try to sabotage you in order to do so. They want to try to aggravate you and frustrate you because they're frustrated and they can't rise to your level, so all they can do is try to slow you down and try to bring you down to their level. So just be very mindful and aware of how you choose to interact with people of that caliber. Like I said before, just cutting those energetic cords from people, even if it's done from a physical perspective, where you just choose not to communicate with them as much, or maybe even at all. It doesn't mean people in response to this, speaking negatively about you, or going on smear campaigns, trying to assassinate your character, or throw unnecessary roadblocks in your way, doesn't hurt. We're all human, but in those moments, you also have to consider the source of where it's coming from. There may be some salty people being left behind, and let them lick their own wounds and deal with it in their own way. You're not responsible for explaining or defending yourself to people about how you choose to elevate and advance in life. So let them have their little pity party and act out in low vibrational ways. And you just have to make sure not to let that be a distraction, because that's all it is, a distraction. They're not going to be able to help you. The only thing they can do is distract you. Therefore, you have to be intentional about what you give your time and energy, or who you give your time and energy to. Because certain people might just serve the purpose of just wasting your time and trying to knock you off your path. You want to be in alignment with elevating and growing and focusing on things that will get you there, and not being sidetracked or set back by salty people who don't want to do any of the work to better themselves. You have a lot of people out there that want to enjoy the payoff, but they don't want to do the hard work to achieve it. Low vibrational people like that tend to act out in negative ways. They don't get inspired by someone bettering themselves. They just settle for being a hater. Jealousy and envy are low vibrational emotions. Someone focusing too much on what someone else has or what someone else is doing, rather than focusing on their self and doing the work to create the life that they want, is just exhibiting small-minded behavior. People that operate like that, I have this funny equivalency or analogy of them having a hamster running on a wheel inside their head, going nowhere fast. All it's trying to do is create traction, create distracting energy, but it's not going to get them anywhere. Wasted energy. It's not going to get them anywhere in the end. As high vibrational people, we definitely don't want to exude or exhibit hamster running on a wheel energy. We don't want to entertain that low vibrational hamster running on a wheel mentality. You just clock the behavior for what it is, and if you can minimize your interaction with these people, if you have to cut them out completely because of the way they're acting to you growing and evolving, then so be it. If you can't necessarily get away from them, whether this may be a parent or a family member, practice the art of detachment. Detaching emotionally and mentally from people spitting venom, people trying to cause issues or problems because they're insecure. This is what I mean by cutting energetic cords, detaching from people's negative reactions and responses to your growth. Just having awareness of how a person is acting and acknowledging that it has nothing to do with you. You have a right to pour into yourself. You have a right to dream, to aspire, to elevate, and that's not in anyone else's control. And it's not up to anyone else to dictate or judge. Be mindful of the aftermath that comes with having to leave people behind or reduce the frequency in which you communicate with them and how they respond to it, knowing it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them, and oftentimes, low vibrational people may solidify your decision to focus on leveling up in life and not bringing them along with you by the way they're acting out in low vibrational ways that I discussed earlier. And it gives you confirmation that it was actually the right decision to put some distance between you and just leave them where they're at as you focus on leveling up in your life. Success doesn't come without enemies. And unfortunately, sometimes those enemies can be the people closest to you. But also, the hate, the bad-mouthing, the negative reactions to your growth is also an indicator you're doing something right. People don't hate on people who are doing bad in life. They only hate on people that have something going for themselves. So use that as an indication that you're on the right path. Again, the importance of just cutting those energetic cords is really just detaching from people's negative reactions and responses to your growth. Whether that's done at a physical, mental capacity, or if you want to do that symbolically through meditation. There are ways to do this, but it's just important to never personalize how people respond to your growth, because you have the right to aspire and pour into yourself and build the life that you ultimately desire. And that's not up to anyone else. So, with that being said, that's all I had for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, goodbye.